Israel struck in Khondab near to a research reactor heavy water facility. Heavy water, or deuterium oxide, is chemically similar to regular water, but with hydrogen atoms replaced by deuterium. That's a stable, non-radioactive form of hydrogen. It's used in some nuclear reactors to slow down neutrons and aid cooling, allowing the use of natural uranium rather than enriched. While essential for peaceful nuclear energy, heavy water can also be used to produce weapons-grade plutonium. That's raising concerns over nuclear proliferation, especially as hostilities are intensifying between Israel and Iran. Right, let's speak to Mr. Robert Kelley, as a distinguished fellow with Stockholm International Peace Research Institute and a former chief nuclear inspector in Iraq, joining us live now from Vienna. Thank you very much for your time. What everyone really wants to know, those that are sitting at home in the region or worldwide, are we any closer to a nuclear disaster? And if that's the case, what effects will that have on the facilities there, the area, the population, the environment, and even the region as a whole?
Thank you, Sarah, for asking me. There is no danger to people in the region whatsoever. Heavy water, for example, is a total joke. There's no reason to even talk about it because it could only be used in a reactor designed for heavy water, and they don't have the reactor. So this is just a sideshow. It's just a sideshow. The important thing is the centrifuge program. The centrifuge program runs on uranium hexafluoride, which is a compound that is chemically reactive. You wouldn't want to try to breathe it or the products of it and other dusty materials that it produces. That is of no danger to people outside the immediate area of a bombing. You're more likely to be killed by the bomb than you are by something from the uranium itself. It poses no danger whatsoever to people outside a few kilometers from each one of these plants. Chemical and radiologic hazards are quite small. The one counter to this is Bushehr, which is a major power plant, nuclear power plant. If someone were to attack that plant, you would expect that the worst case would be something like Fukushima. There could be releases of material in the immediate region as well, but it's well contained inside a large concrete dome. And Israel has shown a great deal of reluctance to attack operating nuclear power plants in past years, such as in Syria or Iraq. Israel's not going to attack Bushehr. That would completely destroy their.
But Mr. Robert Kelley, if Israel manages to convince the US President Donald Trump or the administration to join, and that's what it wants, to be able to hit Khondab nuclear plant, then the situation could potentially be grave.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. And Bushehr is a totally different thing, so let's leave it aside. They're not going to hit Bushehr. If they do bomb Fordo, I think it would bring the U.S. into the war. I was the last chief inspector for nuclear in Iraq. We told people what was going on in Iraq, and people wanted to bomb. So they didn't pay any attention to what we told them was the truth. If the U.S. joins in, it's going to be a problem. But if they do bomb Fordo, the best of all possible things is the uranium is deep underground. And if you bomb the mountain and the mountain collapses on it, end of problem, end of hazard. It's all buried deep in the earth.
So Iran's nuclear future, what options does it have looking forward, do you think?
They have a very important option besides letting the U.S. bomb them. They need, with the U.S., to start downblending that 60% material that they have produced. They produce that material for no real purpose other than provocation and a hedge, and it's time for the hedge. They downgrade that material back to 20%, and the U.S. gives them something in return, removes some sanctions. And then once they've gotten rid of the 60% material, which is the burr under the saddle, then they remove the 20% material down to 3%. And you do this in steps. And the important thing is to do it in steps, not ask to get to the end point in one big deal.
Mr. Kelley, the head of the IAEA spoke to Al Jazeera and says that it's constantly monitoring the activity. It's in touch with the Iranian authorities, albeit limited. They, at the moment, say there's no concern. But in your experience and decades of research, what can you tell us about the nuclear activity of Iran? And has it stayed the same over the years, or has that changed? Because the IAEA is saying that Iran hasn't at the moment got the nuclear weapons.
Well, the IAEA doesn't have the competence or the information to know if they have the weapon. The IAEA is an auditing organization that counts drums of nuclear material, full stop. They don't know anything about weapons, so leave them out of this. What is important is this program for centrifuges is the child of the Iran-Arak war. This started back in like 1990. And at that time, it was clearly designed to support a weapons program. But that program pretty well disappeared by 2003 for a whole number of reasons. The CIA says that, and I agree with the CIA, that they haven't shown an interest in weaponizing the material into a bomb since that time. They've spent the last 22 years not building a bomb. And so pushing them into a corner and saying, you were going to build a bomb, you're going to build a bomb, might at some point convince them that they should have built the bomb in the first place.
So, Mr. Kelley, what do you know about Israel's capabilities? Because it does seem to be also a nuclear country.
Oh, goodness. Israel is widely suspected. I mean, it's kind of a joke that they have about 100 nuclear weapons. They made it Dimona in the southern part of the country, and you can find all of this information on the internet. There was even a defector who came out of their facility taking pictures of the bombs parts that they were making and all. This has been known for 40 or 50 years. They have a large nuclear program.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Robert Kelley, a distinguished fellow with Stockholm International Peace Research Institute.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.